back to Making It in Music. I'm your host, Louis Tan, and this is where musicians deserve some mentorship and guidance towards their career development. And today, I'm excited to introduce a guest who brings a rare mix of artistry, rhythm, and leadership. Andrew Kruschell, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Not only is he the drummer and percussionist for the indie folk band of Ghost and Glory, as well as metal band called Godfall.
Yeah.
So yes,
Yeah.
He's also the VP of Sales and Service of Frontier Lodging Solutions. Wow. So a lot of titles there.
Yes. I'm also one of the owners of that company too.
Wow. Many hats that you wear, yes. I'm excited to delve into your stories. And so let's start with some warm-up questions there.
Good.
Yeah. What are the top 3 songs on your playlist right now?
Ooh, top 3 songs. There's a song called Keep Your Blessings by Orthodox. That is a straight edge hardcore band based out of the US somewhere, I should know. This is a good question. There is a song by Like Moths to Flames called Do Not Resuscitate.
Okay.
That's a very good song. And the last one I would say is always at the top of my playlist is a song by Norma Jean. Band. The song is called With Errors, and the band is Norma Jean.
Okay, are these all like metal?
They are, yeah.
Metal bands, so I'm not too familiar with it, but I'm sure they're...
Yeah, maybe somebody will,
yes.
but Norma Jean is a bit more of kind of a southern blues feel to them, but they're all metal in their own way. Yeah.
Sounds fun, yes. What's a band or artist you think everyone should be listening to?
Everyone? Well, it's hard to do that with metal music. It's not everyone listens to metal music, but if I could suggest one that everyone absolutely should listen to, it's a band called Gojira.
Gojira, okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, they were in Calgary recently, and they are phenomenal musicians.
Okay, we'll check them out. Okay, so are you an early morning person? You like early morning rehearsals or late night creativity? What is your natural rhythm?
I'm a natural night owl.
Yes.
I would like to change that, but naturally the night is where I'm able to get the most things done.
I think most musicians like to do stuff or...
Yes, well, and I think their neighbors typically prefer that as well too.
That's correct.
But
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You joined the band later in its evolution there of Ghost and Glory. What drew you to that band and how did that chemistry...
Two of Ghost and Glory?
Yeah, Two of Ghost and Glory, the band.
So I joined Of Ghost and Glory after playing drums at a place called Friends Church for a while.
Okay.
For a few years, and a few of the members of Ghost and Glory were also volunteers at Friends Church.
I see.
They played music themselves. The Friends Church has always provided excellent musicianship when it comes to the music they provide with each of their services. So I was very, very happy and lucky to be playing with them. And a couple years into it, the keyboardist and vocalist of Ghost and Glory, Alessandra, she stopped by my house with some beers, and I was like, oh, okay, thanks for coming by.
Right.
And she formally invited me to play for Of Ghost and Glory. And at that time, it was still too late to the party because it was only herself and Adam.
Right.
And they used the term two, as in the number two, too late to the party.
Right.
And that worked less when I joined the band, but about a year and a half ago when we brought in Tom on the bass, it definitely didn't work anymore. So
I see. So change the name.
That's what led to the name change.
The name change to Of Ghost and Glory. Okay, yeah, and more of an indie, blues, folkish kind of sound.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to nail that one down specifically. There's some country elements, I would even say, to it.
Lots of storytelling.
Yes, storytelling, some great lyricism on the part of both Alessandra and Adam as they collaborated a lot with their songwriting. And in the last few years, I've had the opportunity to collaborate on that as well.
Excellent. Yes. Okay. So part of your journey as a musician, do you remember the moment you realized music, especially drumming, was going to be a lifelong passion? Back when you're a teenager.
That started very early.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been quite the journey, but it was even when I was, I want to say 4, 5, or 6. My father listened to quite a few different kinds of music. We would go on road trips as a family, and there'd constantly be music playing. And my parents brought us up with all kinds of different artists. But my first probably favorite artist when I was a kid, as I went to a Christian school growing up.
Okay.
But there is a band called DC Talk from that time, around the same era as the Newsboys, if you remember them. Okay. And they still have some fantastic music, but that really drew me into melodies and a little bit into drums at first. But it wasn't until I started listening to a band called POD that I was like, ooh, drums, okay.
That's the fun stuff.
We can do some really interesting stuff there, yeah.
Yes. So you took some formal lessons, or did you?
I did a little bit here and there. I was not the greatest at focusing as a child. Yes. So I went through a few different teachers as well as practicing. I played some percussion for my school band briefly there as well. But I actually ended up kind of leaving music behind after high school. When I was in university, I did meet a friend that I would jam with every once in a while, and I still do to this day. Yes. But it was pretty irregularly and not super frequent.
Right. What did you graduate with your degree in?
So I graduated with a bachelor's in marketing from the University of Lethbridge.
Okay, right, very nice. So your career outside of music is quite demanding, a business owner and have to build the company and all of that. And how has that shaped the way you approach a musician, or how does it cross over, or not really?
I wouldn't say it crosses over too much. I try to invite my coworkers out to my shows as much as possible, but
you're a very different Andrew at work. And
a little bit.
Different character. Okay.
But I certainly enjoy the work that I have there, but it is a great outlet after a long day of work and the stress that comes with being responsible for a lot of people's salaries, as well as, whenever you have customers, you always occasionally have an angry customer. Right. That's an inevitability. Yes. And being able to have a channel to express yourself was and has been an incredibly valuable thing.
Right. So your life in the two worlds of musician and VP, I guess your channel to express everything is in your band when you're playing with your band. Yeah. Two different bands.
Yeah, or even just going home to play some drums by myself, putting on my headphones and putting on some of my favorite songs. Excellent. And just playing along.
Yes, right. Okay. Well, how about let's talk about your persona between the two bands, or because very different, the metal Godfall and the indie band.
Yes.
And do you have a, specific persona for? Because I think of metal bands as Kiss and Metallica and Black Sabbath and all that, the whole stage big persona.
Yes. Yes. In Of Ghosts and Glory, we're very much a plaid and jeans kind of band. We recently took some photos, and taking those photos during fall ended up being very appropriate, I would say, to the aesthetic of not just the music, but the people in the band too. I'm not the only one with a beard in that band. But in the metal band, in Godfall, I don't have as much of a persona, I would say. Definitely wearing a lot more black when I'm on stage, but I try to wear what's comfortable as let's call it, the endurance that's required for a show like that is a little different than when I'm playing with Of Ghosts and Glory. So trying to dress comfortably while also suitably is important.
Right.
But our guitarist, you bring up Kiss, he wears makeup similar to what Gene Simmons and those guys wear. Right. A little more similar,
like a more frontman kind of.
There's a gentleman named Wes Borland who plays for Limp Bizkit.
Okay.
He's a great example of that. But I would relate his makeup more similarly to a band called Cradle of Filth. If you've ever heard of them.
No,
they're from the 2000s, so they're not too recent.
I see. Yeah. Okay, interesting. How you switch from one band to the other.
Yeah. Well, we actually have been talking about what brand we want to move forward with. As much as, we want to express ourselves authentically, we also want to be consistent in how we perform and how we appear in order to, not give people too much of a moving target.
Right.
And we sort of landed a little more on this techno wear, which is a little more loose-fitting clothing and not too gothic, but still a little bit of that sort of implied within the aesthetic. So.
Right. Not go too one way or the other. Right?
Yeah.
Just to reflect the music a bit more, but because whenever I listen to metal music, I like to do the head banging.
Yes.
Right, to that. Right?
Absolutely.
Right? And so you got to be comfortable.
It's something we encourage for everyone listening to our music.
You can't help it.
Yeah.
You can't help it.
That's the idea. The urge to move around and engage with the music is something we all enjoy about metal, but is something we are trying to deliver to listeners of the music as well.
Right. So do you find that performing live offers something emotionally or mentally that you're maybe recording differently, or your professional role in your daytime, or vice versa?
Absolutely. So much so. I have found that performing live is a very different skill set than just performing in a classroom or with your bandmates, or even just practicing on your own.
Right.
It's not only just getting everything ready in a short period of time. You got to set up all the equipment and the instruments. But as a drummer, I've got the most to set up, as you know. But also just getting in the right headspace and going through all the music in a way that I can feel proud of. Right. It was one of the big reasons why I started at Friends Church, because I felt that was a bit of a softer environment in order to try to play music in front of a crowd.
Yeah, and the festivals and all of that, right?
And I wish I could say that there was overlap from my job, because there's actually quite a few instances where I'm public speaking or I'm talking in front of a pretty good group of people. Right. And no, it does not transfer over to playing your instrument on stage.
Very different skill set.
Very different skill set, very different experience, just emotionally.
Because you get adrenaline from the crowd and instant gratification and the reaction to what you're putting out.
Yes. There's the gratification, but also just knowing that this is different than when I'm practicing with the band. I need to just be that next level of consistency.
Interesting. Yes. I come from a classical world, so our audience behave differently at our concerts.
A little quieter, I'm
sure. than metal band, for sure.
No headbanging?
No headbanging. Yes. Okay. Let's go on to joining the band and its evolution. And we talked about a bit about your background. You started some lessons. And so what is it like stepping into already established duo group and in the indie band there? And how did you help shape it into the current band?
Well, it was a little terrifying because these are two very good musicians. I had a lot of respect for, but they welcomed me very nicely. They've been very encouraging.
I'm sure the
overall.
sound-wise, they loved having a percussionist adding to the guitar or banjo or whatever. Yeah.
Yes, I've been
changed the sound quite a bit.
They did not really have percussion or a little bit of side percussion, but certainly not a drum set playing in the background of most of the music they had recorded up until that point. Right. So I definitely added an element of rock, and not quite metal, but certainly some rock to the band sound. Right. And I think it's been something that they've really appreciated too. As you do get that different crowd interaction, as you kind of mentioned, which is a really gratifying and it just feels really good when you get that sort of engagement from the crowd, not just the applause at the end, but when you can see that they're enjoying it and they're nodding along or they're singing along, snapping along, whatever that is.
Yes, I'm sure you added a lot to bringing the vibe out and all the rhythm and the mood. Yes.
I've played quite a few acoustic shows with them where I've played on a cajon, and that's been a very different experience. That was something completely new I needed to learn for that band. And I've really tried to make that interesting, which I think has worked pretty well. They certainly enjoy when I'm playing the cajon, as I've been able to get a tambourine, a little foot tambourine on my one foot, with the other foot being for the, not really a bass pedal, but it hits the middle of the cajon. So it kind of has the same effect. Trying to play the cajon, and then sometimes putting in a shaker in there too, and just trying to add as many elements as I can. They joke that I'm only a couple things away from just setting up a drum set in front of the cajon. So they won't quite let me do that.
I'm sure added lots to it.
They still want it to be acoustic shows.
Right, I see. What excites you the most with the new direction this band, this glory of your indie band?
Honestly, the addition of Tom on the bass has been amazing. As somebody I get to relate with in terms of rhythm section, but it's also added that extra layer of sound that we've been able to apply to our songwriting. And we're in the middle of writing music right now, and it's very cool to hear how him and I are able to add that extra piece to the music that would normally just have that Alessandra signature sound or that Adam signature sound, which they're both fantastic, but it's very cool when you can merge those different sounds into something that's completely different.
Right, when you're leading with different grooves or different rhythms and changing the sound.
Creating the energy around the music.
And changing the emotion and all of that, right?
Yes. And really creating a dynamic where, you can be soft at some times, but be a little more aggressive at other times.
So with your metal band, do you have 4 members in that one?
6 members.
6 members in the metal band. Tell me more about Godfall.
So we have 2 vocalists. We have a girl who does our clean vocals, so that's just regular vocals to people who don't listen to metal. And then you have another gentleman who does our
growling.
The dirty vocals,
the yelling, whatever.
He does a fantastic job of that. They both are great. We have 2 guitarists, one a rhythm guitarist and the other one a lead guitarist who does more of the soloing and takes the lead of some of the melodies that we create there, and then the bassist and myself.
Excellent.
So that was we just celebrated our first year anniversary of playing together.
Nice.
And
accomplishment.
It was an accomplishment because we were all mostly strangers when we started playing together. I was the second last one to join the band, the bassist being the last. And we all come from very different backgrounds, but we all have somewhat similar influences, with some exceptions. Once you learn a little more about the metal world, they have a lot of their own subgenres, and so it's very easy to both love metal but love completely different sides of the spectrum of metal.
It's amazing how 6 people can come together and put out a new EP, right?
Yes, end of August we put that out. We're very proud of it.
Excellent. Yeah.
Parade of Rod is the only music that we have out.
You have out.
With Fragments being the first song, Monolith being the second.
Right, I saw that.
Then you've got Of Howls, Of Whispers.
Right, I remember hearing that.
The first song they ever wrote, Ishkode, Parade of Rot, and Parasite.
Right, Parasite is a really wicked rhythm going.
Yes. That was a fun one to learn.
Right, excellent. Okay, let's go on. Talk about live performing and touring a little bit more.
Sure.
You've played everything from, I guess, intimate forest concerts with your indie band, right?
Yes.
To festivals with other artists. Which live environment brings the best in your playing? Like which kind of style?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I mean, having a good audience that is engaged, I think, is the number one thing. I could be anywhere, but if you can tell that the audience is enjoying the music, that next song is just is that much easier, but also just that much more enjoyable, I would say. And I would argue I probably play it even better because I'm in that flow state, and
you feed off the energy.
And I'm less self-conscious when I know that people are enjoying it, not just kind of staring at me awkwardly. So
just you can enjoy it more and perform.
But definitely trying new places has been a lot of fun. Playing in Edmonton, or I got to play on the Siksika Nation in a festival called Moments Fest with Godfall.
Okay.
And that was outside, which was a very unique setting for a show, and we played that really well. So
huge crowds and stuff.
I wouldn't say huge, but it felt huge to me. That's for sure. Every crowd feels huge, as far as I'm concerned. But it was a good size.
Okay. Yeah. What's one moment on tour that you'll never forget? Any funny stories or heartwarming or chaotic?
That I'll never forget. I mean, they're all a lot of fun. But when I was up in Edmonton with Godfall not that long ago, we had a really great show there, and it was a pretty surreal moment for me because we were driving around a part of Edmonton, not close to the venue we were playing at whatsoever. It was on White Avenue, and we were getting some dinner down there, and there was a poster for our show with our band's name on it. I was pretty astounded by that because you don't see a lot of posters in Calgary. That's not really something. You can find them on 17th Ave a little bit, but otherwise they're not very common. And so this was on a piece of plywood, beside a bunch of other posters, and there was actually a few of them, and so we had to take some pictures there. But I also want to point out the time when I did play in Lac La Biche with Of Ghosts and Glory. There was a bunch of wildfires going on. And so pretty much half the drive from Edmonton north was with pretty much no visibility of anything going on around us. And then we drove into a campsite and performed in performed in the campgrounds for all the people there, and that was a fun experience.
Different world once you get there.
It's a beautiful spot. I just wish I saw more of it because it was mostly just a wall of smoke.
Unfortunately. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. So mostly you travel and perform in Alberta mostly?
Yes. Yeah. We haven't been outside of Alberta yet. Something we're certainly hoping to achieve at some point soon. There's been a great variety of bands that Godfall especially we performed with that have come from British Columbia or come from Regina, and they were incredible to be able to perform with, but also just really friendly individuals that we were able to connect with and, talk about music and the scene and promoters and, booking shows and everything like that. And, you have a
get
great...
to know a lot of people that way. Yeah.
And you get this great moment where you connect and go, hey, if I'm in your area, let's play together and vice versa. So we've made some great connections like that already. And we just need to act on them at some point. So, but considering I'm not the only other one in the band on both of the bands with full-time busy careers, touring extensively like that has been difficult. But certainly is a goal for both of the bands as well.
Yeah. Very different style for both bands. Which style do you feel more natural for you, or?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
It was something I probably would have said the metal music previously, but I have found they have complemented each other so much, where as I've played more with one of the bands, I've found myself improving and getting more comfortable with the other band, and vice versa, which has been interesting because I kind of expected them to be very different, but just each year I've been playing with them, I've felt the development in both of the bands, but in ways that probably translated from the other one. So that's been an interesting experience where, I probably was most comfortable with of Ghost and Glory, and then I picked things up and got more comfortable with Godfall, and then some of those lessons translated back to Of Ghost and Glory, and so I was feeling more comfortable there. But
that's great.
I mean, the one thing that always helps is there's great individuals in both of the bands, and when you're playing with people that you're excited to be around and that you get along with,
inspire each other, kind of thing.
It helps a lot too.
Of course, yes. Same thing. I'm classical trained, but right now I'm learning jazz, which is a whole different language and all of that. So,
kidding.
But it should complement each other, knowing the classical background, venturing into jazz and performing. So I'm having my first Christmas concert next week with a jazz band on the piano, which is way out of my comfort zone. But
when and where is that happening?
It's a gold bar at a Ukrainian restaurant here in Calgary.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm playing the jazz band, 10-piece jazz band.
10-piece in a little restaurant.
It's gonna be crazy. We're gonna see. It'll be fun.
That's cool.
So
jazz drums is always something that has been fascinating to me.
Right. So interesting how the different genres all kind of mesh together a little bit, but not really. Very different language by itself. And so much you can explore that way. Yes, excellent. Okay, let's talk about creative process and some collaboration that you had. How does songwriting and arranging process, or do you do any of the songwriting for your bands?
Yes, so it's something that I kind of eased into with Of Ghost and Glory, because they had quite a significant discography before I joined the band. So we were able to play a lot of that music for a while. In fact, just as I was joining the band, they had just finished recording an album, so they released that, and I was able to play a lot of those songs with them. But there wasn't really a need to record new stuff at that time. But about a year or two into it, we started writing some new music, and at first I've really just been part of the rhythm part of it, of course, and developing that and bringing that energy to the song. But in more recent songs that we've worked on, I've been a little bit more part of the lyricism, as well as some of the melodies. Although, as a drummer, communicating those melodies is not something I'm very good at yet. But I'm sure that'll be something that I'll learn over time. And then, with Godfall, when I first joined them, they really only had 2 of the songs written, Parasite and Ishkode, when I had joined. And so I helped them finish Parade of Rot, as well as really work on Monolith and Of Howls of Whispers. So that was a very rewarding experience, as writing metal music, as it being one of the main things I listened to, was a really, really cool thing to do. And we've been writing more music since we released that, as we're really hoping to release another album next year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, it keeps coming. That's good.
Yes, yeah.
Keep creating.
Yeah.
When you're in the right environment, that just kind of is the right place to create.
Yes, and it's you got to be comfortable, but you got to be organized.
Right, that's true.
As well
That's
too.
true.
So
different skill set. Okay.
Yeah.
What's something about the band's behind the scene work that fans might be surprised to learn? Like maybe the process of creating, how long does it take, or anything surprising?
I don't know about surprising.
How much work to prepare for a show?
I mean, that's a really good question. Surprising is hard to say. I mean, we practice a lot of the music at my house because I have the drums.
Right.
That makes it something, where they cater to me a little bit because I have so much to move. But I think the most surprising thing, at least for me, was the experience of the transitions of bands on a multi-band set. Or a multi-band show. So when you got 3 or 4 bands playing in one night, what is that like for one band to take down and then have the next band set up their stuff, and what the sound check is like, or if there is a sound check, connecting all the mics and
speakers and all that, and all the background stuff.
And is there a monitor that you get to hear yourself with, or maybe there's not a monitor and you kind of just got to feel your way through it. Fortunately, because I've mostly played smaller venues, you're able to hear things fairly well, but with varying degrees of clarity and quality, I would say. But it's a very humbling experience where, you've put in a lot of time and preparation, but in those last few minutes, you're just like, all right, I just got to beat the clock, have everything ready to go, because the amount of songs that you're playing depends on you starting your set on time. So that's been very interesting. And then, ensuring that the sound guy who is there or sound girl is engaged and, is helping you and is ready to start testing the sound once
every stage is different, right? Every setup is different. Every stage is different. So you just have to adapt to.
Some of them didn't even have their own sound equipment, so we're bringing our own monitors and our own, not necessarily mics, but amps and mics for the vocalist, but not for my drums necessarily. I've mostly played venues that I don't need to mic my drums, but I've had a few where the drums are mic'd, and that's a very fun experience. Although almost more nerve-wracking, because then everybody hears you very clearly. It's like, maybe I was okay being a little bit in the background, So it's every one of those experiences is challenging, but important in their own way.
Right, I see. Okay, looking ahead here, where do you see the band heading in the next few years, musically or geographically, for both bands? Or where would you promote your new album?
Great question. These are all really good questions. Of Ghosts and Glory, actually, and Godfall, I would say we're very much on a similar place. Although of Ghosts and Glory, they have a bit of a larger discography historically. The next up goals are kind of the same, where we're both writing music with the goal of being able to release an album. Hopefully next year. We'll see how that goes, depending how quickly we can write the music and find the suitable recording space that we want to use. But I would say we also are both keen to expand outside of our Alberta boundaries that we've mostly set ourselves up with so far. And not just gig for the sake of having a gig, sometimes it feels like that experience and that exposure is really the thing that's necessary for you.
Right.
But with this next step, we want to gig in a way that people and our fans, are excited to see us, and not seeing that we're playing constantly, and gives us an opportunity to get fans in other locations. So we are all almost on the same page again with both bands about not really wanting to do a lot of social media in order to promote ourselves. But we also both are very accepting of the necessity of using using social media as a tool to achieve the results we're looking for.
Yes, your fans can help you out in that, maybe, hopefully.
Yes. Well, and you know what? I've tried something recently with Godfall that I'm very excited to try out with my other bands. Right. And this is something that I noticed a lot when I was traveling in Europe, but you don't really see, at least not in Calgary. Maybe Vancouver and Toronto have this a little bit better, but I printed out some flyers and posters, and I had gone to a few locations. You could put them up in Long and McQuaid. I mentioned a few spots on 17th Avenue. There's a couple spots in Kensington. You can put them up. But ultimately, I printed off flyers and handed them out on the street.
Oh, wow, the old school ways.
Yes, and more specifically, one of the bandmates and I went to another show that was happening. It was a metal show. Okay. And metalheads, if you know what to look for, we pretty easily stand out in the crowd. So, you look for the person wearing black or that band t-shirt and, maybe an interesting haircut and
big hair.
Come to another metal show. And at the end of the day, that might not get them to the show, but there's a good chance they're going to remember.
Or look you up.
Yes, at least look up the music and at the very least go, wow, that never happens. I don't get approached to go to a music show. I get approached maybe to, buy something interesting or to get some spare change or something like that, but not often to go to a show. And so I think that will be a valuable tool for us to use in our upcoming year of shows too.
Right. So you have a couple lined up this summer, or shows or festivals?
2026 is a little unknown at this point. I have a show with Godfall on January 24th, and there's a few pending gigs that I'm lining up with of Ghosts and Glory that I'll be happy to maybe provide for you later. But right now, the 2026, we really want to focus, as much as possible on writing and recording, and probably have a show once every month or two. But compared to a show every month or even every few weeks, that's something we think we're going to step back a little bit from in order to let our presence in the city breathe a little bit.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. Yeah. Next part is about if you could mentor a young drummer, because at TeachMusic.Academy, mentorship is one of the biggest pillars that we have and we value. And we want to mentor the next generation into how to get into turning passion into either full-time careers or part-time careers. And what would you advise a young little drummer or young little Andrew, like 12, 14-year-old perhaps? What would be your advice to them?
Oh, my biggest piece of advice is stick with it and keep practicing.
Excellent.
The rudiments seem pretty boring at the time, but practicing that is so important. And you're not going to be good at the beginning, and that's okay. That was something that I think I spent a little too much time ruminating about when I was a younger version of myself, and thought, hey, I'm not very good, so why should I practice? Because I'm just, going to continue to not be very good. But it wasn't until I really stuck with consistent practice for, months. It probably took a few months before I was like, wow, this is noticeable progress that I'm making with the talents that I'm trying to develop. And it can be very discouraging when you're trying to develop these skills. And social media, again, we talk about that. There's so many talented
better people than you,
and they're all younger than you.
Yes. It can be intimidating.
It's very intimidating,
but don't give up.
No, and the world is craving live music, not just music. You can find countless music on YouTube and Spotify and all that stuff, but the world is craving that live music, that personal touch, and seeing it happen in person, not this manufactured product.
Very different feel, like touch sphere.
Yes, and I'm a huge metal fan, as we've discussed a few times. But I can go to a show for just about any genre. I remember traveling in Europe, and I was in Budapest. And there was one of these bars, they call them the ruins bars. I think it was one called Zimpla. And there was a band where it was a drummer, a bassist, and a violinist. There was no vocals. It was just these three, and it was a jazz fusion sort of. I couldn't tell you exactly what genre they were playing, but they were mind blowing. And
tore the house down.
Yes, I was astounded the whole entire time, and that's something that everyone should use as inspiration.
Yes, those are the moments that inspires, like the fire. And
you just kind of think, hey, if I can do that, if I can create that feeling for someone else in the crowd where they go, wow, that's really cool. Maybe I should try that myself. Like that's such a cool thing to think about.
Like a superpower.
Yes, yeah. And, like I said, it's not just something where, a moment that you enjoy, it's an outlet. It's an outlet for yourself, it's catharsis. It's so many things. So whatever you do, when you get frustrated and, when your teacher, especially here, tells you to practice, make sure you practice.
Hear that, students?
and it can be a little boring at times, but, find maybe some fun things that you enjoy and sprinkle that in between, but always practice, because that always pays off, eventually.
Right. Once you get to a certain level and you can collab with other people, that's where the fun is.
Yes. There's a lot of fun. Yeah, when you're able to make music and perform for others, it's a very rewarding experience.
Excellent. Great. So last part of our section here is the time travel segment, which we already touched on a little bit. Advice to your 20-year-old self. What would you say to your 20-year-old self back then, like fresh out of high school or university? Not sure, like you mentioned that you stopped music for a while.
Yes.
To pursue your marketing degree. And then what would you say to that?
Well, I think the biggest thing I would say, and it's not necessarily that I stopped music to pursue marketing. The biggest reason I stopped playing music was kind of what I was saying before. I didn't really believe I could do it. I very much had a belief, and it's very easy to get this belief where you see your peers and the people around you develop and become talented in one way or another, and you think if you don't have it at 10 years old, well, then you probably don't have it. And that was the biggest advice I would give to myself is, pursue what you love, and it's okay if you're bad. You don't have to believe in yourself. Just keep trying, and sooner or later you will make progress. And that's something I very much wish I told myself at 20 years old. potentially be in a different place, but it's a journey that I'm glad I got to go on.
Right.
As it's a lesson that some people struggle with their entire lives.
Right. Look at you now, VP of your company and playing in 2 successful bands. And
Yes. Yeah. And you know, it's been really cool to see the overlap of what, you know, not talked about how being on stage is not the same as public speaking at a company. But what there is overlap with is just the business part of running a band and the communicating with your peers and your colleagues, as you know, you always want to
together.
You want to be respectful, but you also want to be clear and concise about what you say, and you want to be able to promote your band and you know some of the and having timelines and you know being punctual for your
practices.
For your practices and your commitments that you've made to people, and you know, knowing when to be suitably early for a gig, and then you know, as well as eventually, and this has been a cool step that we've been taking is with both the bands, is knowing when to go. This is how much I want my music to be valued at, and I don't want to compromise at that either, because you don't want to give your product away for free as a company. Otherwise, you're not going to be in business for very long.
The business side of it, and what makes sense. I don't want to be playing for free gigs every time.
Yes, and it's great experience if that's, you know, really all you're looking to achieve, and certainly that is what I was looking to achieve for a certain amount of time. But at some point, you know, your progress needs to come with that extra level of belief in yourself, and continuously build the foundation of self-respect for you to build on.
Right. Okay. Well, I truly enjoy talking to you, Andrew.
Thank you.
So much about both your bands. Best of luck in the future.
Thank you
for your bands.
Thank you. And thanks so much for this opportunity, and good luck with the school as well as the jazz.
Yes. Thanks. Yes. Okay. So if you like today's podcast, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And see you next time. Thanks for watching. We will take a short holiday break, wishing everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Our next episode will be January 19th, where we invite Miss Leanne Ho, a studio owner from BC, Vancouver. Don't miss that. See you January 19th.